Caught on TV, proof of my wife's cheating and the drastic actions I took. The moment I see the text on her phone, my world cracks. I'm not a suspicious guy by nature, but when your wife starts locking her phone screen faster than lightning and working late becomes her new hobby, you can't ignore it. Tonight, she's taking a shower. Her phone's on the bed, lighting up with that same name, Jake from work. I don't know why, but instead of ignoring it like I've done the past few weeks, I pick it up. I feel the pulse of dread in my gut as my thumb hovers over the screen. I swipe, and what I see makes my blood run cold. A string of texts, casual enough at first, then suggestive. Too intimate. I scroll up, my hands shaking. There it is, an explicit message from her to him. The images, my mind blanks for a second. A mix of disbelief and fury setting in. I can barely process it. My heart pounds as if it's going to explode out of my chest. What the hell is happening? Amy, my wife of 10 years, mother of our 2 daughters, is having an affair. There's no other explanation. My breath quickens as I stare at the damning evidence in my hands, the reality crashing down on me. I drop the phone like it's a burning coal, backing away as if the distance will change what I just saw. But it doesn't. The words, the photos, they're all seared into my brain now. My body feels numb, but my mind races. Do I confront her? Do I keep calm? My vision narrows, and all I can see is the betrayal flashing in front of me. The bathroom door opens, steam pouring into the room. I hear her humming. I don't wait. I storm out of the room, out of the house. I need air. I need to think. I grab my car keys, slam the door behind me, and get in the car. My hands grip the steering wheel, but I don't drive. I just sit there, staring at the dashboard, my thoughts spiraling. What do I do now? I don't know how long I sit there, parked in front of my own house, suffocating under the weight of what I just uncovered. My mind races through every moment of the last few months, replaying every lie, every suspicious late night. All the pieces are falling into place now, and the picture they form is one I can't bear to look at. I finally pull out of the driveway, the engine roaring louder than usual in my ears. I need to clear my head, to figure out my next move. The streets blur past me as I drive aimlessly through the city, trying to outrun the rage boiling inside me. But no matter how fast I go, the betrayal follows me like a shadow. I should confront her. I should storm back into the house and demand answers. But I know how she'll react. She'll deny it, twist it, make it seem like I'm overreacting. Amy's always been good at that, turning things around until I'm the one apologizing, even when I know I'm right. But this time, I have proof. I pull over into an empty parking lot, my heart still pounding in my chest. I stare at my phone, my thumb hovering over her number. What would I even say? I know what you've been doing. How could you do this to me? The words feel hollow in my mind, not enough to express the storm of emotions raging inside me. Instead, I dial another number, one I haven't called in months. Jake, her coworker. My jaw clenches as I hear the ringing on the other end. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I need to know what kind of man he is. I need to look him in the eye, confront him the way I can't with Amy right now. He picks up on the third ring, his voice casual, like nothing's wrong. Jake here. For a moment, I can't speak. The words are lodged in my throat, thick with anger and disgust. But then it all comes spilling out, sharper than I intended. We need to talk. There's a pause on the other end, and I can practically hear him trying to figure out who's calling. Who is this? It's me, Amy's husband. Silence. Then, his voice drops, his casual tone replaced with something colder. I don't know what you think is going on, man, but don't. Just don't. My voice shakes, but I don't care anymore. I've seen the messages. I know everything. Another pause. This time, he doesn't try to deny it. He doesn't even bother pretending to be surprised. Look, this isn't something we need to talk about over the phone. My grip tightens on the steering wheel. No, you're right. We'll talk about it face to face. I hang up before he can respond, adrenaline surging through me. I've never been the kind of guy to pick fights, but right now, I feel like I could tear this guy apart with my bare hands. I punch the gas and head toward his apartment. This ends tonight. The drive to Jake's place is a blur. I'm barely aware of the city around me, my focus laser-sharp on one thing: confronting the man who destroyed my marriage. Each mile closer cranks the tension higher inside me, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. I park across the street from his building, my pulse thudding in my ears. I can see the light on in his apartment, and just the thought of him sitting there, calm and comfortable after everything he's done, makes my blood boil. Before I can second-guess myself, I'm out of the car and striding toward the building. My fists are clenched at my sides, every muscle in my body tense. The cold night air does nothing to cool the fire burning inside me. His door is on the second floor. I take the stairs 2 at a time, barely registering the noise of my footsteps echoing in the empty stairwell. When I reach his door, I don't knock. I pound. Hard. The wood shakes under my hand, and I can hear movement inside. The door swings open, and there he is. Jake. The guy I trusted as Amy's colleague. The guy who shared drinks with us at dinner parties. Now, standing in front of me, he's just the guy who ruined my life. He doesn't look surprised. Maybe a little uncomfortable, but not surprised. His expression is infuriatingly calm, as if he's already resigned himself to this conversation. Look, man. Don't, I snap, stepping into his space. I can feel my heart pounding, my fists aching to do something. You don't get to talk your way out of this. He raises his hands in a weak attempt at a peace gesture, but it only fuels my anger. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Didn't mean for it to go this far? My voice rises, and I can feel the rage twisting my words. You've been sleeping with my wife, and you didn't mean for it to go this far? His jaw tightens, and for a moment, he looks like he's going to say something, but I don't let him. How long, Jake? How long have you been sneaking around with her behind my back? He sighs, dropping his gaze. A few months. Months. My chest tightens, and I can't tell if it's from the hurt or the fury. Does she mean anything to you? Or was this just some office fling you could brag about? Jake meets my eyes, and there's something in his expression that makes my stomach twist. I care about her, man. I'm sorry, but I do. That's when I lose it. All the anger I've been holding back surges to the surface, and before I can stop myself, I lunge at him. My fist connects with his jaw, and the shock of the impact reverberates through my arm. He stumbles back, crashing into the wall behind him. But I don't stop. I don't want to stop. I grab him by the collar and shove him against the wall, my breath coming in short, ragged bursts. You care about her? I spit the words out, my face inches from his. You care about her, but you didn't think twice about destroying my family? He struggles against my grip, but I'm stronger. The anger gives me strength. I didn't mean, he starts, but I cut him off with another punch. This one leaves him dazed, blood trickling from his lip. I pull back, breathing hard. I want to hit him again, but something inside me makes me stop. This isn't going to fix anything. Beating him into the ground won't change what he did, or what Amy did. I release him, shoving him to the ground. He groans, holding his jaw, but I don't feel any satisfaction from it. I'm just empty. I stand there for a moment, staring down at him, the reality of the situation finally sinking in. This isn't just about Jake. It's about Amy, about everything I've lost. Without another word, I turn and leave, the sound of my footsteps echoing in the stairwell as I walk away from the man who destroyed my life. I step out into the cold night air, my mind a whirlwind of emotions, my heart still hammering in my chest. I should feel better, right? I confronted him. I got my anger out. But as I stand there in the middle of the street, I just feel hollow. Beating him up didn't fix anything. It didn't erase what he did, what she did. The adrenaline starts to wear off, and now all I can think about is Amy. Why? Why would she do this to me? To us? To our kids? I look up at the sky, searching for answers that I know I won't find. I get back in my car and sit there, gripping the steering wheel, feeling like I've lost control of everything in my life. It's not just Jake. It's Amy. The woman I've spent the last 10 years building a life with. The woman I've loved more than anything. The mother of my kids. She chose him. She lied to me. Betrayed me. 1,000 memories flood my mind. Our wedding day, her laugh echoing through the hall. The birth of our daughters, tears of joy in her eyes. The quiet nights spent in front of the TV, her hand in mine. Was it all fake? Was there ever a moment she didn't have him in the back of her mind? I shake my head, trying to push those thoughts away. But I can't. I don't know what to do next. Every time I think about going back home, about facing her, I feel that anger start bubbling up again. How am I supposed to look her in the eye after everything? The phone buzzes in my pocket, snapping me out of my thoughts. I pull it out, half expecting it to be Amy, but it's a text from my buddy Mike. Hey man, you good? Haven't heard from you in a bit. I stare at the screen. Mike and I have been friends since college. He's always been the guy I turn to when things go south. But this is something I don't know how to talk about. What do you even say? Hey, turns out my wife's been cheating on me for months with some guy from her office. What should I do? I don't know how to respond, so I don't. Instead, I drop my phone on the passenger seat and start the engine. There's no way I'm going home right now. Not to her. Not like this. I start driving, no destination in mind, just trying to get away from everything. The city passes by in a blur of streetlights and empty sidewalks. After a while, I find myself pulling into the parking lot of a bar I used to go to with Mike. I haven't been here in years, but right now it seems like the only place I can think of. I step inside, the warmth and noise hitting me all at once. It's crowded, people laughing, talking, drinking, completely unaware of the chaos swirling inside me. I find an empty seat at the bar and order a drink, something strong to numb the edge of the pain. The bartender slides the glass toward me, and I take a long, slow sip. The burn in my throat feels good, distracting, giving me something else to focus on other than the ache in my chest. I sit there, staring at the amber liquid in the glass, lost in my thoughts. My phone buzzes again, but I ignore it. I don't want to talk to anyone right now. I just want to disappear for a while. Forget that my life is falling apart. I don't know how long I sit there, nursing the same drink, before the door opens, and I see someone walk in that makes my stomach drop. It's Amy. She looks around the bar, her eyes scanning the crowd until they land on me. Her face is pale, her eyes red and swollen like she's been crying. She's wearing the same clothes from earlier, her hair still damp from the shower. I don't move. I just watch as she walks toward me, her steps hesitant, like she doesn't know if she's welcome. I can already feel the anger rising again, but I push it down, trying to stay calm. I don't want to do this here, not in front of all these people. But what choice do I have? She's here now. She stops in front of me, her voice barely above a whisper. Can we talk? I don't answer right away. Instead, I take another sip of my drink, letting the silence hang between us. When I finally speak, my voice is cold, distant. What do you want to say, Amy? You've already said enough. Her face crumples, and for the first time tonight, I see something that almost looks like regret in her eyes. I set the glass down on the bar with a hard thud, my eyes locked on hers. The regret in her face does nothing for me. If anything, it stirs up that anger I've been trying to keep buried. She's standing here, in front of me, like she expects an easy conversation, an easy way out. I'm sorry, she whispers, her voice trembling. I didn't mean for it to happen. The words hit me like a slap to the face. Didn't mean for it to happen. That's what she's going with? My hands curl into fists on the bar, and I grit my teeth to keep from shouting. Everyone around us is still laughing, drinking, oblivious to the hell unfolding at this corner of the bar. I turn toward her, my voice low and ice cold. You didn't mean for it to happen? What, Amy, did you just trip and fall into bed with him? Was it an accident every time you texted him? Every time you met up with him? She flinches at my words, tears welling up in her eyes. But I'm not letting her off that easily. Not this time. I didn't know how to stop, she says, her voice cracking. I didn't want to hurt you, I swear. Hurt me? I laugh bitterly, shaking my head. Well, congratulations, because you've done a hell of a job. She reaches out, her hand trembling, trying to touch my arm. I pull back, the disgust rising in my throat. I can't stand the thought of her touching me right now. Not after everything. Amy, I say, keeping my voice steady even though everything inside me feels like it's collapsing. Do you even know what you've done? You've wrecked our family. You've lied to me, to our kids. Did you think about them? Did you think about Emma and Ella? Her face crumples, and she covers her mouth with her hand, trying to stifle the sob that escapes. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she whispers again, her voice barely audible. I stand up, pushing the stool back, the legs scraping harshly against the floor. I can't sit here anymore. I can't look at her without feeling like I'm going to explode. You didn't mean for it to go this far? It's been going on for months, Amy. You've been lying to my face, sneaking around behind my back. Do you even understand what you've done to me? To us? She's crying now, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand, but I don't feel sorry for her. I can't. She's the one who did this. She's the one who broke us. I know I hurt you, she sobs. I know I messed up, but I love you. I love our family. Please, can we just talk about this? I feel something snap inside me. Talk? She wants to talk about it? After all the lying, after all the betrayal, she thinks we can just sit down and talk? I laugh again, but there's no humor in it. You want to talk? Okay, let's talk. Let's talk about how you threw away 10 years of marriage for some guy at your office. Let's talk about how you betrayed the one person who would have done anything for you. She's shaking now, her face pale and tear-streaked. Please, I don't know why I did it. I don't know, but I want to fix this. I want to make things right. I take a step closer to her, my voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. You want to fix this? There's nothing left to fix, Amy. You broke us. You broke me. Her eyes widen, and for a moment, she looks completely lost, like she's just realizing the full weight of what she's done. Please, she begs, her voice small. I'll do anything. I'll quit my job. I'll cut him out of my life. Just don't walk away from me. Don't walk away from our family. I stare at her, the woman I thought I knew, the woman I built a life with, and all I can think about is how none of it feels real anymore. Everything I thought we had was a lie. Everything we built together, everything we dreamed about for our future, it's gone. She destroyed it the moment she chose him. My heart feels heavy, like it's being weighed down by 1,000 stones. I take a deep breath, the words I'm about to say burning on my tongue. I'm done, Amy. I'm done with the lies, the betrayal. You made your choice, and now I'm making mine. Her face falls, her breath hitching as she realizes what I'm saying. No, she whispers, shaking her head. No, you can't. But I can. I have to. For me. For the kids. For what's left of my own sanity. Without another word, I turn and walk out of the bar, leaving her standing there, broken and crying. As I walk out of the bar, the cold night air hits me like a slap in the face. But it's nothing compared to the numbness that's settled in my chest. I hear Amy call after me, but her voice fades into the background, drowned out by the roar of blood pounding in my ears. I keep walking. I don't stop until I'm back at my car. For a moment, I just stand there, staring at the car door, trying to steady my breath, trying to wrap my head around what just happened. I told her I was done. I walked away. But why doesn't it feel like it's enough? I climb into the driver's seat, my hands shaking as I grip the steering wheel. Everything feels surreal, like I'm watching my life unravel from the outside, helpless to stop it. I try to convince myself that walking away from her was the right thing to do, that there's no coming back from what she did. But the pain is still there, gnawing at me from the inside out. I start the car, pulling out of the parking lot and onto the empty streets. It's late now, the city quiet, the lights casting long shadows on the road ahead. I don't even know where I'm going anymore. I just drive, trying to outrun the thoughts chasing me. But no matter how far I go, the questions keep coming back. Why? Why did she do it? What did I do wrong? Could I have stopped this from happening? I shake my head, frustrated with myself. I know better than to think like that, but the questions won't stop. Eventually, I pull over into a park. The same park where Amy and I used to take the kids on weekends. It's deserted now, just the rustle of trees in the wind and the distant hum of the city. I get out of the car and walk to one of the benches, sitting down with my head in my hands. I can still see her face, the tears, the regret. But was it real? Did she really feel sorry? Or was she just desperate to hold on to the life we built, The life she destroyed? My phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out, half expecting it to be Amy again. But it's another message from Mike. Asterisk, hey man. Seriously, are you okay? Call me if you need anything. Asterisk. I stare at the screen for a long moment. I know Mike would understand. He's always been the kind of friend who'll drop everything if you need him, but I don't know how to explain this to him. I don't even know how to explain it to myself. Before I can think too much about it, I hit the call button. The phone rings a few times before he picks up. Hey man. Mike's voice is calm, steady, the way it always is. What's going on? You've been MIA for days. I take a deep breath, my voice shaky as I try to speak. It's bad, Mike. There's a pause on the other end, and I can tell he's gearing up for something serious. What happened? I stare out at the empty park, my heart heavy. Amy's been cheating on me. For months. I found out tonight. The words hang in the air between us, and I hear Mike suck in a breath. Damn, man. I'm so sorry. I don't even know what to do. My voice cracks, and for the first time tonight, I feel the weight of everything pressing down on me. I walked out. I told her I'm done, but it doesn't feel like it's enough. I feel like I'm falling apart. Mike's silent for a moment, letting me talk. You did the right thing, man. She crossed the line. There's no coming back from that. But it's gonna take time to heal from this. You're not going to feel better overnight. I just don't understand why. We've been together for 10 years. We have kids. Why would she throw that away? That's on her, not you, Mike says firmly. Don't do that to yourself. She made her choice. You didn't push her to do anything. She's the one who blew up your marriage. I rub my hands over my face, trying to make sense of it all. I thought we had something real, Mike. But now I don't know what to believe. You had something real, Mike says, his voice gentle but firm. That doesn't change because she screwed up. You were real. Your love was real. She's the one who couldn't see what she had. I sit there, absorbing his words, the silence between us comforting in a way I didn't expect. Mike's right. I did everything I could. I gave everything to that marriage, to her, to our family. This isn't on me. I don't know how to face the kids, man, I say quietly. How do I explain this to them? Mike sighs. That's going to be the hardest part. But they need you. You're still their dad, and they're going to need you more than ever right now. I nod, even though he can't see me. Yeah, you're right. We talk for a little longer before I hang up, feeling a small sense of relief wash over me. It's not much, but it's something. Mike's always been there for me, and hearing his voice reminded me that I'm not alone in this, even if it feels like it. I sit there for a while longer, staring out at the park, trying to gather the strength I know I'm going to need. I stay in the park until the cold starts to seep through my jacket. The night air feels heavy, and for a moment, it feels like the world is pressing down on me, trying to crush me under the weight of everything. But I won't let it. I can't afford to collapse, not with everything on the line. I force myself to stand, heading back to the car. My body feels stiff, like every step takes more energy than it should. When I finally sit in the driver's seat, I take a deep breath, trying to clear my head. I need to figure out my next move. I can't stay in this limbo forever. As I pull out of the parking lot, I realize I have no idea where to go. Home doesn't feel like an option. Not yet. I don't want to face Amy again. Not until I've figured out what to say, what to do. But then there's the kids. I can't avoid them. They're probably asleep by now, but I'll have to face them in the morning. My phone buzzes again, and this time, it's a message from Amy. I hesitate, not sure if I even want to see what she has to say. But curiosity wins out. I unlock the screen and open the message. Asterisk, please come home. We need to talk. I'm so sorry. I don't know what else to say. Please, for the kids. Asterisk. I stare at the message, my mind swirling with conflicting emotions. The kids. It always comes back to them. I'd do anything for Emma and Ella, but I don't know if I can handle being in the same house as Amy right now. The thought of facing her, of hearing more excuses, more apologies, makes my stomach turn. But the kids, they need me, and I need to be there for them, no matter what. I drive back to the house, my mind racing the whole way. By the time I pull into the driveway, the lights are off inside, and the house is dark. I sit in the car for a few minutes, staring at the front door, trying to gather the strength to go inside. When I finally do, the house is eerily quiet. I shut the door softly behind me, not wanting to wake anyone. I stand there for a moment, listening to the stillness. It's strange how different the house feels now, like a stranger's home, like I don't belong here anymore. I walk down the hallway toward the kids' rooms. I stop in front of Emma's door, pushing it open gently. She's fast asleep, her small body curled up under the blankets, her hair spilling across the pillow. My heart aches just looking at her. She doesn't know what's happening, doesn't know her world is about to be turned upside down. I close the door quietly and move to Ella's room. She's still so little, still at that age where she sees the world as a magical place. I don't know how I'm going to explain any of this to her. How do you tell a 5-year-old that her mom and dad might not be together anymore? I leave her room, walking down the hallway toward the bedroom I've shared with Amy for the last decade. The door is cracked open, a faint light spilling out from inside. I know she's waiting for me. I stand outside the door for what feels like forever, trying to decide what to do. Part of me wants to turn around, sleep on the couch, and deal with everything in the morning. But I know that won't solve anything. I need to talk to her, no matter how much I don't want to. I push the door open and step inside. Amy is sitting on the edge of the bed, her face pale and drawn. She looks up at me as I enter, her eyes red from crying. "Thank you for coming home," she whispers, her voice hoarse. I don't say anything. I just stand there, staring at her, waiting. She shifts uncomfortably, wringing her hands in her lap. "I don't even know where to start," she says, her voice trembling. "I'm so sorry for everything. For lying to you. For hurting you. I never meant for it to go this far." I've heard that line before, and it does nothing to soothe the anger simmering beneath the surface. But I stay silent, letting her talk. "I don't know why I did it," she continues. "I was feeling, I don't know, lost, I guess. Like I wasn't myself anymore. I know that's not an excuse, and I'm not trying to justify what I did, but I just want you to understand. Please, just try to understand." Understand? The word comes out harsher than I intended. Understand what, Amy? That you were bored? That you needed something exciting? I get it, but that doesn't make it okay. She flinches, her eyes filling with tears again. "I know it doesn't. I know I hurt you. I know I destroyed everything. But I want to fix it. I want to fix us. For the kids. For us." I stare at her, feeling the weight of everything she's saying, but also feeling the anger rise again. "You can't just fix this, Amy. You can't undo what you did. You can't erase the lies, the betrayal." "I know," she whispers, her voice barely audible, "but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to try. Please, just give me a chance." I don't know what to say. Part of me wants to believe her, wants to believe that we can get through this. But the other part of me knows that things will never be the same again. "I don't know, Amy," I say finally. "I just don't know." Amy's face crumbles at my words. She looks so small, sitting there on the edge of the bed, tears running down her cheeks. But the image of her with Jake flashes in my mind again, and I can't find it in myself to comfort her. Not now. Maybe not ever. She wipes her eyes, her voice trembling as she speaks. "I'll quit my job tomorrow. I'll cut off all contact with him. I'll do whatever it takes. Just please, please don't give up on us." I let her words hang in the air, feeling the weight of them, but I still don't know if it's enough. I sit down in the chair by the window, my back to her, staring out at the dark sky. The silence between us feels heavy, suffocating. "I didn't just lose you tonight," I say quietly, almost to myself. "I lost everything I thought we had. Every memory, every promise. It all feels like a lie now." Amy stands up, her footsteps soft as she moves closer. "It wasn't a lie," she says, her voice desperate. "We had something real, something beautiful. I was just, I don't know. I was stupid. I made the worst mistake of my life." I feel her hand on my shoulder, but I don't turn to face her. "Do you even know what you've done to me?" I ask, my voice cold. "You shattered everything. Every time I look at you now, all I can see is the betrayal." Her hand drops from my shoulder, and she takes a step back. "I know," she whispers. "I know I hurt you. but I don't want to lose you. I love you. I finally turned to face her, the words burning in my throat. If you loved me, Amy, you wouldn't have done this. Love doesn't do this. You didn't just hurt me. You destroyed me. She flinches at my words, her face contorted in pain. I know, she repeats, her voice breaking. But I want to make it right. I want to fix us. Please, for the kids. I look at her, and for the first time tonight, I really see her. Broken, lost, desperate. And for a moment, I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. But then the anger comes crashing back, stronger than before. Do you think the kids will ever look at you the same? I ask, my voice sharp. Do you think they'll ever forget what you did? Because I won't. And I don't know if I can live with that. Amy collapses onto the bed, sobbing into her hands. I want to feel something, anything, other than this cold numbness inside me. But I can't. I just stand there, watching her fall apart, feeling like I'm floating above the wreckage of our lives. I'll sleep on the couch, I say after a long silence. We'll figure this out tomorrow. But right now, I can't be around you. She nods, her shoulders shaking with sobs, but she doesn't say anything else. I grab a pillow and a blanket from the closet, my heart heavy with the knowledge that this is only the beginning of the end. As I walk out of the room, I stop in the hallway and glance back at her. She's still sitting on the bed, her face buried in her hands. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I trusted with everything, looks like a stranger now. I head downstairs, tossing the blanket on the couch and collapsing onto it, staring at the ceiling. Sleep is out of the question. My mind is racing, replaying the night's events over and over, each detail cutting deeper. I think about the kids again. How will I explain this to them? How do you tell your daughters that the family they've always known is falling apart? I don't even know how to explain it to myself. I roll over, closing my eyes, hoping for just a few minutes of peace. But all I see is Amy's face. All I hear is her saying she's sorry, and it makes me want to scream. I grab my phone and check the time, 2:43 a.m. Too late to call anyone. Too late to do anything but sit here and think about how my life just collapsed in a single night. Suddenly, the phone buzzes in my hand, and I look down at the screen, expecting another message from Amy. But it's not her. It's Jake. I feel a fresh wave of anger rise inside me. I don't even want to open the message, but something compels me to do it. I swipe to unlock the phone, and the words on the screen make my blood boil. Asterisk, we need to talk. Man to man. Asterisk. I grip the phone so hard I think it might crack. Talk? What the hell could he possibly have to say to me now? My hands shake as I type out a response. Asterisk, there's nothing left to say, Jake. Stay away from my family. Asterisk. I hit send, feeling the rush of adrenaline again. I should block him, but part of me wants him to keep talking, to give me another reason to explode. The phone buzzes again. Asterisk, I'm not the only one at fault here. You need to hear the whole story. Asterisk. I throw the phone across the room, watching it bounce off the armchair and hit the floor with a dull thud. I don't need to hear his excuses. I don't need any more lies. I bury my head in the pillow, trying to shut out the world, but the weight of everything crushes down on me, and I know this is just the start of a long, brutal fight. The rest of the night crawls by in a haze. Every time I close my eyes, I see flashes of Amy with Jake, laughing, touching, betraying me in ways I can't even comprehend. Sleep is impossible, so I just lie there, staring at the dark ceiling, trying to make sense of it all. By the time the sun starts to rise, I feel completely drained. My body is exhausted, but my mind is racing with 1,000 thoughts, none of them leading to any answers. I know I need to face Amy again, and I know I need to figure out what comes next, but I still have no idea where to even start. I hear the creak of the floorboards upstairs and know she's awake. For a moment, I consider slipping out of the house before she comes down, but I can't run from this forever. I have to face it. I pull myself off the couch, running a hand through my hair as I head to the kitchen. The house feels eerily quiet, and for the first time in years, it doesn't feel like home. It's just a house, walls, a roof, and the echo of everything that's been lost. Amy steps into the kitchen, her eyes swollen from crying all night. She hesitates when she sees me, like she's not sure if she should say something. The air between us is thick with tension, and I can already feel the conversation we're about to have hanging over us like a storm cloud. "Morning," she says softly, her voice raw. I don't respond right away. Instead, I pour myself a cup of coffee, the routine somehow comforting, even though nothing about this situation feels normal. Finally, I look at her. "We need to talk about the kids. About how we're going to tell them." She nods, biting her lip. "I was thinking the same thing. We can't keep this from them." "No, we can't." I agree, my voice flat. "But we need to figure out what we're telling them." Amy takes a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly. "I don't want to tell them everything. Not yet. They're too young. I think we should just say that we're going through something, but we both love them, and we'll figure it out together." I shake my head. "We're not going through something, Amy. You had an affair. You lied to me, to them. They deserve the truth." Her eyes well up with tears again. "I know, but I just don't want to hurt them any more than they're already going to be hurt. Please, can we just tell them in a way that doesn't destroy everything for them?" I stare at her, the mother of my children, the woman who was supposed to protect them, and I feel that familiar wave of anger rise again. "You already destroyed everything. Lying to them now won't make it better." She breaks down, covering her face with her hands, and I can't stand to watch her fall apart again. I turn away, gripping the edge of the counter, trying to keep my own emotions in check. After a long silence, I speak again, my voice low. "I'll talk to them later today. But we're not going to lie to them, Amy. They deserve better than that." She sniffles, wiping her eyes. "Okay, I'll follow your lead. I just want them to be okay." I nod, though I'm not sure how anything can be okay after this. We stand there in silence, the distance between us feeling like a canyon neither of us can cross. The sound of little feet padding down the stairs breaks the silence, and my heart sinks. It's Emma, her hair messy from sleep, her favorite stuffed animal clutched in her arms. "Daddy," she says, her voice groggy. "Why are you sleeping on the couch?" I glance at Amy, who's already looking at the floor, avoiding Emma's eyes. I crouch down, forcing a smile, even though my heart is breaking. "Hey, sweetie. Mommy and we're going to talk to you and Ella later today, okay? But everything's going to be all right." Emma frowns, clearly confused. "But why were you on the couch?" Amy steps forward, her voice soft and shaky. "We just had a disagreement, baby. But don't worry. Daddy and I love you and Ella very much, and we're going to figure things out." I see Emma's eyes flicker between us, her young mind trying to piece together the puzzle. She's too smart for her age, and I know she senses that something is very wrong. "Okay," she says slowly, still clutching her stuffed animal. "Can we have pancakes for breakfast?" The innocence of her question almost breaks me. She's so small, so innocent, and she has no idea how much her world is about to change. "Yeah, sweetheart. I'll make pancakes," I say, trying to keep my voice steady. I head to the kitchen, trying to focus on something, anything, that will keep me from falling apart in front of her. As I start mixing the batter, I hear Amy quietly shuffle out of the room. She can't face the kids right now. Maybe that's for the best. As I pour the batter onto the griddle, Emma watches me closely, her eyes full of curiosity. I know she's waiting for answers, but for now, all I can do is make pancakes and pretend everything is normal, at least for a little while longer. But I know that once breakfast is over, the real conversation has to begin. And I'm not sure I'm ready for that. After breakfast, the house feels too quiet. Amy stays upstairs, keeping her distance, and I'm left alone with Emma and Ella. They're playing with their toys in the living room, their laughter and chatter filling the space, but it only deepens the ache in my chest. I watch them, knowing that soon, their innocence will be shattered. I sit on the couch, my hands clasped together, staring at the floor as I try to figure out how I'm going to do this. How do you tell your kids that their whole world is about to change? That their parents, the two people they rely on the most, are broken? I call Emma and Ella over, and they both come bounding toward me, their faces lit up with smiles. My heart feels like it's being squeezed in a vice. "Come here, girls," I say, patting the couch next to me. We need to talk about something important. They scramble up onto the couch, sitting on either side of me. Ella clutches her favorite toy, a stuffed unicorn, while Emma looks up at me with wide eyes, waiting for whatever I'm about to say. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself. You know how Mommy and Daddy love you both very much, right? I begin, my voice tight. They both nod, their innocent faces peering up at me. Well, sometimes grown-ups go through things that are hard to explain. And right now, Mommy and Daddy are having a tough time. We're trying to figure some things out, and that means things might change for a little while. Emma's face scrunches up in confusion. What do you mean, Daddy? I feel a lump form in my throat, but I push through it. It just means that Mommy and I are going to need some space from each other. But that doesn't mean we don't love you. We both love you so much. That's never going to change. Ella looks up at me with those big, innocent eyes, her voice soft and unsure. Are you and Mommy fighting? I swallow hard. How do I answer that? I don't want to lie to them, but I also don't want to burden them with the weight of our problems. We're not getting along right now, I say carefully, but we're working on it. We're going to figure it out. I promise. Emma's lip trembles, and she leans into me, resting her head on my shoulder. I don't want you and Mommy to be sad. My chest tightens. I wrap my arm around her, holding her close. I know, sweetie. I don't want that either. But sometimes, grown-ups have to go through hard things. And no matter what happens, Mommy and I will always be here for you and Ella. Ella stays quiet, her little hand clutching my shirt. She's too young to understand the full extent of what's happening, but I can see the uncertainty in her eyes. She's looking to me for reassurance, for safety, and all I can do is hold them both and hope that somehow I can protect them from the worst of it. After a long silence, Emma speaks up again. Are you going to leave, Daddy? The question hits me like a punch to the gut. I blink, trying to fight back the tears threatening to spill over. I'm not leaving you, Emma. I'm always going to be here for you. Always. She looks up at me, her eyes searching mine for the truth. I want to tell her everything will be okay, that Mommy and Daddy will work things out, but I can't make promises I'm not sure I can keep. I hold them both, my heart breaking for them, for the innocence they're about to lose. I feel Amy's presence at the top of the stairs, watching us, but I can't bring myself to look at her. Not now. The rest of the day passes in a blur. I spend it with the girls, trying to keep things as normal as possible, but every moment feels heavy, like the weight of what's happening is pressing down on all of us. Amy stays out of sight, keeping her distance, and I'm grateful for that. I need time to figure out how I feel, what I'm going to do. By the time evening rolls around, I've made up my mind. I need space. I need to get out of the house, away from Amy, away from the constant reminder of her betrayal. I can't think straight with her here, and I can't keep pretending that everything is fine for the kids' sake. Once the girls are in bed, I pack a bag. I'll stay with Mike for a few days, maybe longer. I need time to figure things out, to decide what's next. As I zip up the bag, Amy appears in the doorway, her eyes red from crying. You're leaving? She asks, her voice small. I nod. I need some space, Amy. I can't stay here right now. She bites her lip, her hands trembling as she reaches out. Please don't go. We can work this out. We can go to counseling. We can. I can't do this right now. I cut her off, my voice hard. I need time. I need to figure out what I want. Her face crumples, and she looks like she's about to break down again, but I can't let myself feel sorry for her. Not after everything. I pick up my bag and walk past her, heading for the front door. I'll be back to see the kids, I say, not looking back. She doesn't respond, and I don't wait for her to. I step out into the night, the cold air biting at my skin as I close the door behind me. The moment I step outside, I feel a strange sense of relief, like I can finally breathe again. The weight of being in that house with Amy was suffocating, and now that I'm out, the air feels lighter, even though I know the real burden hasn't lifted. It's still there, hanging over me like a dark cloud. But at least now, I've got some space to think. I get in my car and drive to Mike's place. It's late, and I should probably call ahead, but I know Mike. He'll take me in no matter what time it is. That's just who he is. The drive is quiet, the streets nearly empty, and my mind races with everything that's happened. I replay the conversation with Amy, the look on Emma's face when she asked if I was leaving, the mess that my life has become in the span of a single night. When I pull up to Mike's house, I sit in the car for a few minutes, just staring at the dashboard. What am I doing? Am I really leaving? Am I really walking away from my family, even if it's just temporary? I shake my head. I'm not walking away from the kids. I'm walking away from Amy, from the lies, from the pain that I can't escape while I'm around her. I need this. I need time. I grab my bag and walk up to Mike's door, knocking lightly. A few moments later, the door swings open, and there he is, standing there in his old college hoodie and sweatpants, rubbing his eyes like he just woke up. "Dude, it's late," Mike says, blinking at me in the dim light of his porch. "What's going on?" I don't say anything right away, just holding up my bag. He takes one look at me and steps aside, nodding. "Yeah, man. Come in." I walk in, and the familiar smell of Mike's house, pizza and old leather, hits me. It's comforting in a weird way, like I'm stepping into a time machine, back to when things were simpler, back when the biggest worry we had was passing finals, not dealing with cheating spouses and broken families. Mike shuts the door and turns to me, his face serious now. "All right, man. What's going on? You want to talk about it, or you just want a beer and some quiet?" I let out a breath, dropping my bag on the floor. "Both, I think." He nods and heads to the kitchen, coming back with 2 cold beers. We sit down on the couch, and for a while, we just sit there in silence, the only sound the soft hum of the fridge in the next room. Mike doesn't push, doesn't ask questions, and I'm grateful for that. Finally, I speak, my voice low. "I left." Mike glances at me, but he doesn't say anything, just takes a sip of his beer. "I found out Amy's been cheating on me." I continue, the words heavy on my tongue. "For months. With some guy from her office." Mike's jaw tightens, and I can see the anger flash across his face. "Jesus, man. I'm so sorry." I shake my head. I don't even know what to feel right now. I needed to get out of there. I couldn't breathe in that house anymore. "You're welcome to stay here as long as you need," Mike says, his voice firm. "Whatever you need, man." I nod, staring down at the bottle in my hands. "Thanks. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I can forgive her. I don't even know if I want to." Mike leans back, his eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "I get it, man. And no one would blame you if you walked away for good. But you gotta figure out what's best for you and the kids. That's all that matters right now. The kids. Every time I think about them, it feels like my heart's being ripped in two. How do I explain this to them, Mike? How do I tell them that their mom blew up our family?" Mike sighs, running a hand through his hair. "You tell them the truth. Maybe not all of it, not yet, but enough so they understand. They need to know that you're still their dad, that you're still going to be there for them no matter what." I nod, taking another sip of my beer. That's what I told them today. But it feels like I'm lying to them. Everything feels like a lie now. Mike doesn't say anything for a while, just letting the silence settle between us. Finally, he leans forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "You're not lying to them. You're doing what you have to do. You're trying to protect them. That's what a dad does." I rub my eyes, the exhaustion of the past 24 hours finally catching up to me. I just don't know how to move forward. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. Mike looks at me, his expression serious. "You take it one step at a time, man. One day at a time. You don't have to make any big decisions right now. Just focus on getting through this. On being there for your girls." I nod, knowing he's right, but still feeling the weight of everything pressing down on me. I just don't know if I can ever trust her again. How do you rebuild something that's been completely destroyed? Mike lets out a long breath. "That's up to you, man. Trust. Trust is hard to rebuild. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. But you'll figure it out. You're stronger than you think." I don't feel strong. I feel broken. But I nod anyway, appreciating Mike's support. He's been there for me through a lot of rough times. But this is something else. "Thanks, man," I say quietly. "I don't know what I'd do without you." Mike shrugs, a small smile playing at the corner of his mouth. "Hey, that's what I'm here for. You do the same for me. We sit there in silence for a while longer, the weight of the night hanging between us. Eventually, I get up, grab my bag, and head to the spare bedroom Mike's set up for me. It's small, just a bed and a dresser, but right now, it feels like a sanctuary. I collapse onto the bed, staring up at the ceiling, my mind still racing with everything that's happened. But for the first time in what feels like forever, I start to drift off, the exhaustion finally pulling me under. The next morning, sunlight filters through the blinds, waking me far earlier than I want. I lie there for a moment, the events of last night rushing back to me in a wave of cold reality. For a brief second, I had hoped it was just a nightmare, that I'd wake up to my normal life. But no, this is real. My wife really cheated on me, and I really walked out on my family last night. I drag myself out of bed and head into the kitchen, where Mike is already up, scrolling through his phone while nursing a cup of coffee. He looks up when I enter, raising his mug in silent greeting. "Morning," he says, his voice rough with sleep. "You sleep okay?" "Not really," I admit, rubbing my eyes. I grab a mug and pour myself some coffee, trying to shake off the grogginess. "Everything still feels like a mess?" "Yeah," Mike says, leaning back in his chair. "It's gonna feel like that for a while, man." I sit down across from him, taking a long sip of the coffee. The bitterness jolts me awake, but it does little to dull the ache in my chest. "I still don't know what to do," I say, my voice low. "Should I go back home? Should I don't know, file for divorce?" Every option feels like the wrong one. Mike scratches his head, thinking for a moment. "I don't think there's a right answer, man. You've got to take it one step at a time, like I said last night. No one's expecting you to have it all figured out right now." I nod, though the uncertainty still gnaws at me. The thought of going back home to face Amy again feels impossible, but staying away feels just as wrong. The girls, they need me, and I can't abandon them. But how can I live under the same roof as Amy, knowing what she's done? Maybe, I hesitate, unsure if I even want to say it out loud. Maybe I should stay here a little longer, just until I figure out what I want. Mike shrugs, his face serious. "You know you're welcome here as long as you need. No pressure, man. Take the time you need." I feel a small sense of relief, knowing I have somewhere safe to be, but that relief is short-lived. My phone buzzes on the table, and when I pick it up, I see it's a text from Amy. "We need to talk about the kids today. Please call me." I stare at the screen, the familiar anger bubbling up again. But I know she's right. I can't avoid this conversation forever. We have to figure out how to handle things for Emma and Ella. I sigh, running a hand through my hair. She wants to talk. Mike nods. "About the kids?" "Yeah. You should probably call her, man. Gotta figure that part out." I know he's right, but the idea of talking to her, of hearing her voice and facing the reality of what's happened, feels like too much. Still, I can't avoid it forever. I take a deep breath and step outside, dialing her number as I lean against Mike's porch railing. The phone rings twice before she picks up. "Hello?" Her voice is soft, hesitant. I can hear the tension in it, the fear. She knows things are different now. She knows there's no going back to what we were before. "We need to talk," I say, keeping my tone neutral. "I know," she says quietly. "I've been thinking a lot about what we said last night. About the kids." I nod, though she can't see me. "Yeah, I can't keep staying away forever, Amy. I'm going to come see them today." There's a long pause on the other end, and for a second, I wonder if she's going to try to convince me to stay longer, to come home and work things out. But when she finally speaks, her voice is shaky. "I understand. The girls miss you. They keep asking about you." The mention of the girls tugs at something deep inside me. "I miss them too," I admit, my voice softer now. "I'll come by later today, spend some time with them." "Okay," Amy says, her voice sounding small and fragile. "I'll make sure we're out of the way. Give you space with them." It's a small gesture, but it feels like an acknowledgement that she knows how broken everything is between us. I appreciate that she's not trying to force another confrontation right now. "Thanks," I say, before hanging up. I walk back inside, tossing my phone onto the table as I slump into the chair. Mike looks at me, eyebrows raised in question. I'm going to see the girls today, I say, staring at the cup of coffee in my hands. She's giving me space to spend time with them. But I don't know, man. What do I even say to them? Mike leans forward, his elbows resting on the table. You just be there for them. They don't need all the details right now. They just need to know that you love them and that no matter what's going on with you and Amy, you'll always be their dad. I nod, taking in his words, but the knot in my chest doesn't loosen. I know I'll have to be strong for them today, but I still don't feel strong. I feel lost, like I'm fumbling around in the dark, hoping to find some kind of light. Later that day, I pull into the driveway of the house that used to feel like home. Now it just feels like a battleground, the place where everything fell apart. I sit in the car for a few minutes, staring at the front door, wondering how I'm supposed to walk through it again. Finally, I get out and head inside. The moment I step through the door, I hear the sound of tiny footsteps pounding down the stairs. Ella comes rushing toward me, her face lighting up with joy as she throws her arms around my legs. Daddy! I scoop her up, holding her tight, the weight of her small body grounding me in the moment. Hey, princess. I missed you. Emma appears at the top of the stairs, her eyes searching mine. She's older, more perceptive, and I can see the questions brewing behind her cautious expression. She knows something's wrong, but she doesn't say anything, just walks down the stairs slowly and wraps her arms around me in silence. We sit on the couch together, Ella talking a mile a minute about school and her friends, while Emma stays quiet, leaning against my side. I try to focus on what Ella's saying, try to enjoy the moment with them, but the shadow of everything that's happened looms over us. I glance up at the stairs, half expecting to see Amy watching us from the top, but she's nowhere to be seen. I'm grateful for that. I need this time with the girls, time to remember what really matters, even as everything else falls apart. The afternoon with the girls passes in a blur of quiet moments, filled with their laughter and the occasional heavy silence from Emma. Ella bounces from one topic to another, oblivious to the weight pressing down on the rest of us. But Emma, with her wide eyes and cautious questions, feels every crack in our family. She knows something is wrong, something bigger than a simple disagreement between her parents. I try to stay in the moment, focus on them, but my mind keeps wandering back to Amy. She's still upstairs, giving us space, and I wonder if she's listening to every word or if she's as lost in her thoughts as I am. It's hard to imagine that things between us were ever easy, that we ever had the kind of love that felt invincible. Now, it feels like we're living in two different worlds. As the day wears on, I realize it's almost dinner time. The girls are starting to get hungry, and I can't put this off any longer. I need to leave before things get too complicated. I don't want to be here when Amy comes down, and I definitely don't want to fall into another argument or heavy conversation with her in front of the girls. All right, you too, I say, standing up from the couch. I've got to get going. Ella's face falls, her hands clutching the hem of my shirt. You're leaving again? The sadness in her voice hits me hard. I crouch down to her level, brushing a stray hair away from her face. I'll be back soon, sweetheart. I promise. I just need to take care of a few things, but I'll see you really soon, okay? Emma watches me closely, her expression unreadable, but I can tell she's struggling to hold back her questions. I'm not sure if she's mad at me for leaving, or if she's just scared of what all this means for our family. When are you coming back, Daddy? Emma asks, her voice soft but steady. I glance at her, knowing this question is harder for me to answer. I'll be back in a couple of days, okay? I'm staying with Uncle Mike for a little bit, but that doesn't change anything. I'm still your dad, and I'll always be here for you and Ella. She nods, but I can see the worry in her eyes. Okay. I pull them both into a tight hug, holding them close, trying to memorize the feeling of their small bodies pressed against me. It's moments like this that remind me of what I'm fighting for, what I need to protect, no matter what happens between Amy and me. After I say my goodbyes, I head toward the door, my heart heavy. As I reach for the doorknob, I hear soft footsteps behind me. I turn to see Amy standing at the base of the stairs, her eyes puffy from crying, her face pale. She doesn't say anything at first, just looks at me like she's searching for the right words. I don't want to have this conversation now, not in front of the kids. I'm leaving now, I say, keeping my voice low. Amy nods, her eyes flickering toward the girls before coming back to me. Thank you for spending time with them. I don't respond. I can't. Not right now. I need to get out of here before this moment turns into something more, before we're forced to talk about the elephant in the room. The future of our family. The question of whether there's anything left to salvage between us. Without another word, I walk out the door, closing it softly behind me. The cool air hits my face, and I let out a long breath, feeling like I've been holding it in all day. The drive back to Mike's place is quiet, my thoughts swirling as I try to make sense of everything. The girls, they're the only thing keeping me grounded right now. I have to focus on them. I'm making sure they're okay through all of this. But no matter how hard I try, my mind keeps drifting back to Amy and the conversation we haven't had yet. When I get back to Mike's, he's in the living room, watching some game on TV. He looks up when I walk in, giving me a nod. How'd it go? I shrug, tossing my keys onto the counter. It was fine. The girls were happy to see me. He pauses the game and turns to face me fully. And Amy? I let out a bitter laugh, running a hand through my hair. We didn't talk. She stayed upstairs the whole time. Mike nods, leaning back on the couch. Probably for the best right now. You need time, and she needs to understand that. I sit down heavily in the chair across from him, staring at the blank wall in front of me. I don't even know what to do, Mike. Part of me wants to try to fix things for the kids' sake, but the other part of me just can't see a way past what she did. Mike is quiet for a moment before he speaks again, his voice thoughtful. You've got to do what's right for you, man. You can't make a decision just because of the kids. If you stay, you've got to be able to forgive her eventually. Otherwise, it'll just be worse for everyone. I know he's right. Staying just for the kids won't work if I can't find it in myself to move past the betrayal. But the idea of tearing our family apart, of not being there for Emma and Ella every day, is almost unbearable. I just don't know how to forgive her. I admit, my voice raw with emotion. I don't know if I ever can. Mike leans forward, his eyes serious. Then you've got to be honest with yourself about that. Don't force something that'll only hurt you more in the long run. I nod, though the thought of ending everything feels like a knife twisting in my gut. Yeah, I guess you're right. We sit in silence for a while, the weight of the conversation hanging between us. Finally, Mike grabs another beer from the fridge and hands it to me. You don't have to decide everything tonight. Just take it day by day. You'll figure it out. I take the beer, feeling a small sense of relief that I don't have to make any decisions right this second. But I know that time is running out. Sooner or later, I'll have to face the reality of my situation, and I'll have to decide whether there's anything left to save, or if it's time to walk away for good. The next few days pass in a blur of routine and numbness. I stay at Mike's place, trying to get through the motions of life while my mind keeps spiraling. Every time I close my eyes, I see Amy and Jake together, the betrayal replaying itself over and over in my head. Even when I'm with the girls, the thoughts creep in, and I have to push them aside to focus on what really matters, keeping their world as intact as possible. I go back to the house to see them every day. Amy and I avoid each other, exchanging only brief, strained conversations about logistics, school pickups, schedules, nothing personal. She gives me space with the girls, and I'm grateful for that. But the tension in the house is thick, like a bomb waiting to go off. One evening, after the girls are in bed, Amy catches me as I'm about to leave. I'm standing by the door, keys in hand, ready to make my escape before we get into anything heavy. But her voice stops me. Can we talk for a minute? She asks, her tone soft but insistent. I glance at the stairs, making sure the girls are really asleep, then turn back to her. About what? About us, she says, stepping closer but still keeping a safe distance. I know you're still angry. I know I hurt you in ways I can't even begin to fix. But I need to know, is there any chance we can try? For the kids? For us? Her words hang in the air, and for a moment, I can't find the strength to answer. My chest tightens as I think about everything we've lost, everything she's asking for. I look at her, and for the first time in days, I see the desperation in her eyes. She's not just asking for forgiveness. She's asking for a chance to save what's left of us. But I don't know if there's anything left to save. I don't know, Amy, I say, my voice tired. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again. I don't know if I can ever get past what you did. Her face crumples, and she looks down at the floor, her hands trembling. I'm so sorry. I've said that a million times, and I know it doesn't mean much now, but I am. I'm so sorry for everything. I was lost. I made a horrible mistake, and now I'm paying for it every day. I swallow hard, the weight of her words pressing down on me. I just don't understand, Amy. We had everything. We had a family, a life. Why wasn't that enough for you? She wipes at her eyes, sniffling. I don't know. I was stupid. I was selfish. It had nothing to do with you. You were an amazing husband, an incredible father. This was about me and my own insecurities, my own messed up head. It wasn't your fault. I shake my head, the anger simmering just below the surface. It doesn't matter why you did it, Amy. What matters is that you did it. You betrayed me. You betrayed our family, and I don't know how to come back from that. Her lip quivers, and for a second, I can see how broken she is, how much she regrets everything. But regret doesn't fix anything. It doesn't change the fact that my trust in her is shattered, that our marriage is hanging by a thread. I want to try, she whispers, stepping closer. I want to go to counseling, to do whatever it takes to fix this. I'll quit my job. I'll cut off all contact with him. I'll do anything. Just give me a chance. I close my eyes, rubbing my temples. I feel torn, the war inside me raging between the part of me that wants to fix things for the kids, to give them the stable family they deserve, and the part of me that can't get past the betrayal. I don't know if counseling can fix this, I say quietly, my voice heavy with exhaustion. I don't know if anything can. She takes another step forward, her eyes pleading. Please, don't give up on us. Don't give up on our family. We've been through so much together, and I know I ruined everything. But we can rebuild. We can make this right again. I meet her gaze, and for a moment, I see the woman I married all those years ago. The woman who stood by my side through thick and thin, who laughed with me, cried with me, built a life with me. But now, she's a stranger, and I don't know if I can ever trust her again. I need time, I finally say, my voice low. I need space to figure out what I want. I don't know if I can give you what you're asking for. Her face falls, and she steps back, her shoulders slumping in defeat. Okay, she whispers, her voice barely audible. I understand. I turn toward the door, my hand resting on the knob. I'll be back to see the girls tomorrow, but I can't stay here tonight. She nods, wiping away another tear. I know. Take all the time you need. I walk out, the sound of the door closing behind me echoing in the quiet night. As I drive away, my mind is a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. I want to believe that we can fix this, that there's still something worth saving. But the truth is, I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her. And without forgiveness, what do we have left? Back at Mike's place, I collapse onto the couch, staring up at the ceiling. My mind keeps replaying the conversation with Amy, her words echoing in my head. She's desperate to fix things, and part of me wants to believe that we can. But I don't know if I can live with the constant doubt, the lingering fear that she might betray me again. Mike walks into the room, grabbing a beer from the fridge. How'd it go? I let out a long sigh. She wants to try counseling. She's willing to do whatever it takes to fix things. Mike takes a seat next to me, cracking open the beer. What about you? Do you want to try? I rub my face with both hands, feeling the exhaustion seeping into my bones. I don't know. Part of me does. But the other part of me just wants to walk away and never look back. Mike nods, taking a sip of his beer. You've got to do what feels right for you, man. Not for her, not for the kids, but for you. If you can't get past it, then there's no point in dragging it out. I know he's right. I can't stay in limbo forever. But making a decision feels impossible right now. I guess I'll figure it out, I mutter, leaning back against the couch. One way or another. The next morning, I wake up with the same sense of heaviness that's been following me since the night I left. My body feels drained. My mind like it's stuck in a loop of unanswered questions. There's no escaping it. No matter where I go, the betrayal follows me, whispering doubts in my ear, reminding me that life as I knew it is over. I grab my phone and scroll through the missed notifications. Text from Amy, another from Mike telling me to hang in there, and a message from work. The normalcy of that last message almost feels like a joke. Everything is falling apart, and yet the world keeps turning. Life keeps moving. I head downstairs, where Mike is already making breakfast, the smell of eggs and bacon filling the kitchen. "Morning," he says, flipping a pancake onto a plate. "You sleep okay?" "Not really," I admit, pouring myself a cup of coffee. Still feels like I'm trapped in a nightmare I can't wake up from. Mike nods, setting a plate in front of me. "Yeah, I get it. But hey, at least you're taking the steps you need. It'll get clearer. Maybe not today, but eventually." I sit down, staring at the food but not really feeling hungry. My thoughts are already drifting back to Amy, to the girls, to the wreckage of my marriage. "I'm going to see them again today," I say, my voice low. "I have to figure out a plan. I can't keep going back and forth like this." Mike sits down across from me, his expression serious. "So, what are you thinking? Are you leaning toward counseling? Or are you leaning toward, calling it quits?" I rub my temples, the pressure building behind my eyes. I don't know. Every time I think about trying to work things out, I just keep picturing her with him. I don't know how to move past that. Mike leans back, crossing his arms. "That's the thing, man. If you can't move past it, then trying to fix things is only going to prolong the pain. But if there's even a part of you that thinks you could eventually forgive her, then maybe it's worth trying." I nod, though the idea of forgiving her still feels impossible. "I'll talk to her today. Maybe counseling can help, maybe not. I just need to figure out what's best for the girls." Mike gives me a reassuring pat on the back. "Whatever you decide, man, you've got my support. Just don't rush into anything. This is your life. You've got to live it the way that makes sense for you." A few hours later, I'm standing at the front door of my house again. The place that once felt like a sanctuary now feels like enemy territory. I steel myself and knock, even though I still have my keys. Something about knocking makes it feel less like I'm just walking back into a mess I'm not sure I belong in anymore. Amy answers the door, her eyes still puffy and red, though she's put on makeup to try and hide it. "Come in," she says quietly, stepping aside to let me in. I walk into the living room where the girls are playing on the floor. When they see me, they both rush over, wrapping their arms around me. For a moment, everything feels normal again. Their laughter, their smiles, the warmth of their tiny hands in mine. But the shadow of what's happening between Amy and me looms over us, even as we sit together on the couch, trying to hold onto some semblance of normalcy. I know this can't last. Sooner or later, the cracks will show, and the girls will see just how broken everything really is. After a while, Amy suggests the girls go upstairs to play, and they leave us alone in the living room. The silence between us is thick with unspoken words, the tension almost unbearable. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said," Amy starts, her voice barely above a whisper. "About counseling. I've already looked into some therapists we can see, if you're willing to try." I nod slowly, though I still feel the hesitation tugging at me. "I don't know, Amy. I'm not making any promises. I don't even know if counseling can fix this. But for the girls, I'm willing to give it a shot." Her eyes well up with tears again, and she bites her lip, nodding. "Thank you. That's all I'm asking for a chance." I run a hand through my hair, feeling the exhaustion creeping back in. "But I need to be clear, Amy. This isn't a guarantee that we're going to fix things. I'm still angry. I'm still hurt. I don't know if I can ever get past this." "I know," she whispers, her voice trembling. "I know I hurt you. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right, even if it takes years. I don't want to lose you." I stand up, needing to put some distance between us before the emotions get too heavy. "We'll try counseling, but I'm still staying at Mike's for now. I need that space." Amy nods, wiping at her eyes again. "Okay, I understand." I look at her, and for the first time, I see just how broken she is, how much this whole mess has taken a toll on her, too. But instead of feeling pity, I feel a strange mix of sadness and anger. We're both broken now, but we didn't have to be. We didn't have to end up here. I'll be back tomorrow for the girls, I say, heading for the door. Let's just take this one step at a time. She doesn't try to stop me, doesn't say anything else. She just nods and I walk out, feeling like I'm walking away from a war zone. The drive back to Mike's is quieter than usual, the city passing by like a blur of lights and shadows. I don't feel any closer to a decision, but at least now I have a plan. Counseling is the next step, and maybe, just maybe, it will help me figure out if there's anything left to salvage. As I pull into Mike's driveway, I sit in the car for a moment, staring at the house. I'm not the same person I was a few days ago. Everything has changed, and I know that whatever happens next, nothing will ever be the same again. I take a deep breath and step out of the car, feeling the weight of the world on my shoulders. But for the first time in days, there's a small sliver of hope. Not for a happy ending, but for something better than this limbo I've been stuck in. Maybe counseling will help me find clarity. Maybe it won't, but I'll face it, one step at a time. Thanks for sticking with us until the end. If this story resonated with you, make sure to subscribe for more intense tales of love, betrayal, and personal growth. We dive deep into the complexities of relationships, exposing the raw emotions and dramatic moments that define them. Your likes and shares help us reach others who may need to hear these stories. So, smash that like button, share this video, and join our community of people navigating their own relationship battles. Together, we can shine a light on these challenging experiences. See you in the next one.